board. And Madison, if we have you back again, is there a sense here that a lot of this is triggered, if true, that there were some issues coming up with Rudy Giuliani, and maybe his business ties would have hurt him for approval for this most vital of cabinet posts, whereas Mitt Romney, you could logically argue, has been fully vetted, certainly as a presidential candidate and more, so that there might be less difficulty.
Yeah, I mean, Mitt Romney has definitely been fully vetted as he ran for president in 2012. What I think is really important here is the message that Mitt Romney becoming Secretary of State would send, and that's a message of party unity. I mean, we saw President-elect Trump and Mitt Romney really suffer from many disagreements over the past 8 months. And if Mitt Romney were to become Secretary of State, I think we would be able to bring the party together. And I think this would be a very smart appointment by the president-elect.
But it would also be one with a lot of rough edges. I know politics, you know, after the campaign, you move on. But this was very nasty within the campaign. Now, it says something to Mr. Trump that he's meeting with former rivals like Ted Cruz. And all of these people who, like a revolving door, have gone through the Trump Tower. Now, it would be a little different with Mitt Romney. They'd meet at his Baskin Ridge home in New Jersey, where it's less visible and less like a cattle show, but still, just the meeting alone is a big deal, right?
Yeah, but I mean, what we have to remember is that this is an unprecedented election. We've never seen an election like we've seen over the past year. And Donald Trump is a competitor. He's someone that's going to throw those rough punches, and that's exactly what he did through the primaries, through the general election cycle.
But it's not his rough punches I'm worried about. Well, I mean, it was Mitt Romney who threw a lot of rough punches at him. And, you know, that interview, I remember after I did that interview with Mitt Romney, I mean, that just sent him into orbit. He went furious. His people were furious.
You know, I think
they were shocked that a Republican would do that. I think it was difficult for Mitt Romney to suffer a loss in 2012 and then come back and really get behind Donald Trump, because he was a very non-traditional candidate. Well, he never did. He never did.
But at this point, I think moving forward, he may be able to do that. And you're right, he didn't. And I supported Mitt Romney in 2012. I was disappointed with him earlier this year, but I think moving forward, he still could be a smart choice for this position.
Susan, obviously, I know politics changes things. The one thing that came through in that interview I had with Mitt Romney, in fact, it angered Trump people so much that Donald Trump blasted yours truly. The show was shocked that we would even have him on. And one of the arguments was, paid no attention to this guy just bad-mouthing me, even though we asked all the obvious questions at the time. You had backed Donald Trump, and Donald Trump had backed you. You seemed to have a good relationship when you were running for president. What changed? That's a lot of stuff just to forgive and forget, isn't it?
Oh, certainly, but we're seeing all kinds of things, you know, as Victory has so many friends, you know. This is just, it's a typical Washington situation in a very untypical race. Now we have people coming who, you know, who just supported Kasich, who now want to be in the administration. Right now it's all about jobs and what kind of lever you can pull in Washington. Maybe I can have an influence on him. Maybe I can steer him in the right direction. This is what happens in Washington after the reality sets in.
Yeah, you're right.
Donald Trump is president, and either we get around him and the Republicans are thinking either we get around him and we get the Supreme Court justices that we want, or what's the alternative? There's not a good alternative right now.
I don't know, making President Bush join your cabinet as well. I don't know, but guys, thank you very, very much. But you're right. You see the darnest thing that this presidency begins to unfold before January 20th.